may sakit pa rin. Si Beleng, siguro alam niyo na medyo ngayon palang tumatalab yung epekto nung kanyang chemo at wala na po siyang buhok ngayon. Kaya darating na raw yung darating naman daw yung kanyang wig. Ayun, suot na ni Jerry ngayon, sa Sunday si nang magsusuot. Si Beleng at si Emil, saka si anak niya, meron ding sakit ngayon. Sino pa man may sakit? It seems na mga mambiars pala. So, alalahanin natin sila sa panalangin. Marami ang wala sa atin. As I've been saying, it seems na nagsisirculate lang sa atin, papasa-pasa lang yung ating virus. But we especially remember, and most especially si Dong, dahil alam niyo naman siguro na meron siyang special na condition, that whenever na meron siyang infection, yung antibody niya will attack not only the infection, but even yung kanyang mga nerves. So, may alalahanin natin siya sa panalangin. Okay, tayo ay muling natapos sa ating pag-aaral. Do you still remember? Ang nakakalungkot lang pag nagsisimula tayo, yung mga may maliit na anak, yun ang wala pa nandito naman yung dalawa, wala pa lahat. But anyway, magsisimula tayo ng ating pag-aaral. Natatandaan niyo pa ba yung mga basic foundations ng pag-aaral na ito na tinalakay natin? So far, merong 3 na basic assumption. Yun ang bali umbrella na gagabay sa atin sa ating pag-aaral nitong child discipline. Okay, meron pa ano ba? Our model is God through His Word. God is our model of perfect parenting, perfect fatherhood. At ito ay pinaunawa niya sa atin sa kanyang paggawa at pagpapaliwanag ng banal na kasulatan. Anong unang-una nating pinag-aralan? Yung plan of God, yung childbearing. So, central sa lahat ng pagkilos ng Panginoon. Central yung family, yung marriage, and yung rearing up godly children. Central yun sa plano ng ating Panginoon. At yung last na tinalakay natin, yung mga hindi nakatulog ng Sunday. Ano, yung ating last? The nature and character of children. Ang nature ng ating mga anak, meron silang path. Sinful path. Selfish, ungodly, worldly path na tatahakin. So we are not beginning with an empty slate. Hindi tayo tabula rasa. Meron tayong path na susubaybayan ng ating mga anak na tayong mag-initiate sa kanya, gagabayan natin siya doon sa path na yun, itatry natin niya siya doon sa path na yun. Hindi yun, so ang atin hindi tayo nagsisimula sa isang innocent, cute-looking creature na it's all up to us kung paano siya. But we are to train them. Sabi niya, a child left to himself would bring shame doon sa kanyang mga magulang. Now, titingnan natin ang isa pang foundation o magsisimula na tayo doon sa proper na gawain natin to train our children. Let me begin by calling your attention to those who seem to be diligent in rearing their children. Diligent sila. Dinadala nila sa Sunday school. Meron silang Bible study sa bahay. Meron silang sama-sama sila sa church. Parang it seems na ginagawa nila lahat, but ending up with rebel children. Sa Amerika, yan ang nagiging problema ngayon. maraming mga bata na as soon as they are out of their homes, sa kanila naman, alam niyo, pag graduate mo ng high school, you're out of your homes. As soon as they're out of their homes, they would abandon the faith of their parents. Iniiwanan nila yung faith ng kanilang mga magulang. And we have many friends na doon sa US na yun ang naging bunga ng kanilang pagsisikap. Diligent sila, pero nag-end up. At ang mas masakit, diligent, but they know that their children are on their way to hell. On their way to hell. Yan minsan na nakakalungkot when you stand before yung mga teachers. Isipin mo, pagtatayo kayo sa harapan ng mga bata, and you know na marami rito, or if not all, will end up in hell. So anong nangyari? Remember, our children were not born blank slate. That it is now up to us on what to write on that plate. Kung anong gusto natin sa kanila na maging. They were conceived in iniquity, born to sin. Foolishness is bound up in the heart of our children. Siya'y determined na tahakin yung landas ng kamalian at palayo sa ating Panginoon. Children are born worshipers. They worship and follow a God. Diligently susundin nila yung God na yon. And what is that God? Yung God na yon are given many names. Sometimes it is called self. Sometimes it is called flesh. Sometimes it is called appetite. Those are the gods of our children. Those are the gods of everyone. They will follow. And everyone born of a woman is bent to follow that God. And they are determined to eliminate all that would hinder them from sacrificing to that God. They will abandon even their parents. They will abandon anyone na pipigilan sila sa pag-worship, sa pagsunod doon sa bata, doon sa kanilang mga, sa Diyos, called self, called appetite, or flesh. Now, it does not mean that they will be as evil as they can be. Marami rin mga bata na lumalaki, kahit unbelievers, lumalaki ng kaibig-ibig. But it's only because of common grace. You know, the Lord has given grace to everyone, to every man, and manage that grace so that the world would be a livable place. Imagine po natin kung wala yung common grace ng Panginoon sa mga tao. This world will not be livable. Ang sabi sa Ephesians chapter 2, beginning verse 1, you walk according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit who now works in the sons of disobedience. And in verse 3, among whom also we all once conducted ourselves in the lust of our flesh, fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature children of wrath, just as the others. Ganun yung tao pag ipinanganak siya under the sway of the evil one, bent to obey their flesh, their lust, doing things according to the prince of the power of the air, conduct themselves in the lust of the flesh, fulfilling the desires of the flesh. Yun yung nature ng every human being born to this world. Kahit gano'ng ka-cute pa siya, kahit gano'ng kabait siya sa kanyang infancy, yun ang nature ng tao. Iba-iba lang ang expression ng kanyang sinfulness. And we know that no one has the power, not even the person himself, has the power to change his mind, to change his heart, to change his attitude. Walang may power na ganun. So kung ganun pala, ano ang magagawa natin bilang parents? As I have mentioned, we were given a corridor In the life of man, we are given a corridor where we can mold them and change them. God has provided a window of opportunity at binigyan ng parents ng power to change them, to mold them, to direct them. Not only to try, hindi lang tayo binigyan ng opportunity, but even power. Not to try, but to actually change their lives, change their direction, change their mind. And that period, yung window na ito, yung corridor na ito is called youth. It is during their youth that we were given that power. Again, let me read again yung mga passages that I have read before you that would indicate yung power ng window na yon. Yung power na binigay sa atin. Yung kakayahan na binigay sa atin. Proverbs 22:15. Foolishness is bound up in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction will drive it away from him. There is foolishness in a child, but during that window, we were given the power of the rod. We were given the power of the rod para i-redirect yung kanilang life. Verse 6 of Proverbs 22, train up a child in the way he should go. And when he is old, so before he becomes old, we have the power given to us. We have the authority, we have the charge to change them. Proverbs 19:18, chasten your son while there is hope. Again, there is a window. There is a window of hope. And notice that hope will expire. Proverbs 22:15, folly is bound up. Oh, same thing. Proverbs 23:13, do not withhold discipline from a child. If you strike him with a rod, he will not die. If you strike him with a rod, you will save his soul from Sheol. Does that mean that he will not die? But you would bring him to salvation. Proverbs 29:15, the rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left to himself brings shame. So you see, if we waste that window, if we waste that corridor, iniwanan na natin sa kapahamakan yung ating mga anak. So we were given that corridor, given that window of time where we are given the power and authority to change their course. And that window will expire. Let us see how we go about in that window of opportunity. Again, let me remind you, baka sakaling meron hindi nakarinig o nakaalala, I use extensively on the book of Proverbs that someone would argue na, Proverbs yan hindi absolute yan. Yes, I'm aware of that. You need to read other wisdom literature, but the book of Proverbs is given for us to be wise. And so we treat it that way. Kung hindi natin nakita yung bunga, nasa atin yung pagkakamali, hanapin natin yung pagkakamali. But what I want to emphasize here is that we are given a window that would expire. A window that we are given the power and authority to change the course of the life of our children. So doon tayo magsisimula. So pinag-aaralan na natin ngayon yung proper steps, yung proper, we are now on the proper lesson how to train our children to godliness. Let me say first that the first and continuing responsibility of the parent is to set himself as the authority. We would establish ourselves as the authority over our children. Remember, may authority sila. Meron silang power na sinusunod. Meron silang God na sinasamba. And what is that God? That is themselves, their appetite, their desire, their flesh. Yun ang kanilang sinusunod. And it's a very strong master. It's a very determined ruler. Yun ang unang-unang alam ng ating mga anak. Kaya nga pag nagugutom yan, talagang iiyak yan. Kasi the child wants to please its God. It's Lord. Kaya iiyak yan. Hindi niya gusto na gugutomin yung flesh niya. Kapag uncomfortable yan, iiyak din yan. At kapag napabayaan siya, pag toddler na yan, subukan mong huwag ibigay yung hinihingi niya sa'yo, malaking gulo yun doon sa bahay. So yun yung kalagayan natin. So, but here in this window, we are given the authority, we are given the power na i-overtake, na tayo yung magiging ruler. So it is our responsibility to establish authority over them, na malinaw na makita nila. Authority is leading with force. Yun ang ibig ko sabihin. Let me just make it clear. I can't think of any other word than authority, but it's leading with force. Government is the ruler of nations, the leader of nations. And government makes laws and impose those laws with force. Pagka sinabi ng gobyerno, you have to pay your taxes, it's not a suggestion. Kapag hindi mo ginawa, merong punishment. That is the force. They have the authority to do that. Yung school administration, yung mga teachers, they govern their children's lives with authority. Pag hindi kayo sumunod doon sa rules, what will happen? It's either you'll be expelled or babagsak ka doon sa subject na yun. Subukan mong alisin lahat yun. Subukan mo na sa isang school, i-announce kagad na walang babagsak sa inyo at walang parurusahan pag nagkamali kayo. But we would suggest to you the best way to behave. Do you think mangyayari yun na mag-behave yung mga bata? I don't think so. Pero ang school, they exercise their rule with authority. You have to face the consequence if you will not obey us. Take away the authority, few or even none will obey directions. Imagine a traffic signs, lahat ng traffic signs natin kung nakalagay I suggest that you don't turn left. It would be better if you would just drive in one direction. Kung ganun kaya ang gawin natin sa pagka nagkamali ka, paparahin ka ng pulis, sabi sa'yo, next time sana please, ganun na lang. No, it's with authority. Pag hindi ka sumunod, ito ang mangyayari sa'yo. Same with parental training. They are performed from the standpoint of authority. Not only from moral uprightness ng parents, not only from the standpoint that I know better, so you have to listen to me, or I am morally good, better than you, so you have to imitate me. No. It must be from the standpoint of authority, and God has given authority that parents must establish. Note the key verse in parental training. What's the key verse? Do you know? In child reading, it's Ephesians 6:4. Do not provoke your children to anger. That is, do not rouse them to wrath. Do not provoke them. Do not exasperate them. But bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. That's your duty. Bring them up. The first duty given is a negative. That is to establish an atmosphere of training. Do not provoke your children to anger. We will go back to that when we study itong particular passage na ito. Create an atmosphere that is conducive to training. But then the positive is an exercise of authority. Bring them up. Bring them up. Literally, out of, nourish them out. Nourish them out. It means to nourish up to maturity, to nourish in general, to nurture, to bring up from childhood, to raise a child to maturity, to raise them up. Yun yung raise them out of immaturity, out of ignorance. But know how that brings up, that bringing up is to be done. Bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. Instruction is filling the mind. And I'm sure lahat ng parents ginagawa yun. Nangangaral tayo, nagre-remind tayo, dinadala natin sa Sunday school, meron tayong family devotion, I hope, meron tayo lahat ng mga pagtuturo, and some parents are so diligent that they literally obey yung Deuteronomy 6, that is when they sit down and they stand up, when they lie down, i-interpret mo yung ginagawa o yung buhay sa mga bata. Some parents, akala nila pag sinabing family devotion or family worship, yung lang set time, mga 30 minutes a day. No, it's not. Hindi yun ang training ng children. It's every step. When they lie down, when they sit down, when they walk, always remind them, teach them. That's admonition. Literally filling the mind, fill their mind. Malaking space ng malaking space ng isip ng bata. Fill their mind. And if we would base in Romans 12, 1 and 2, the reality is, yung mind nila filled na with holiness. They are being molded according to yung pattern of this world. Puno na yun. Kaya as you fill the mind with the things of God, tinatanggal mo by explaining, tinatanggal mo yung mga laman from the world. That's the duty. That's the duty. Ang duty ng bringing them up. But then, Paul used the word discipline, not only to bring them, which is here translated instruction, but bring them up in the discipline. The word discipline, I have mentioned this several times, is paideia. Kung saan natin nakuha yung word na pedagogue. Originally referred to instruction of children. Yung pagtuturo sa bata, pedagogue ang tawag doon. Yung hinahire nila na magturo doon sa bata, ang tawag nila sa personnel na yon ay pedagogue. And because yung pedagogue na yun ay napakahigpit at nagpaparusa, later on, because of the sinfulness of our children, kailangan yung chastening, kailangan yung pagpaparusa. Kaya yung word na paideia, although training lang dapat, it has gained a meaning of discipline. When the Bible was written, it has gained that meaning, discipline. I have several passages here that translated the word paideia as discipline. In the Old Testament, when it was translated to Greek, dun sa Septuagint, yung word for training, paideia, I translated as discipline. Let me just read, I have several, but let me just read some. Psalm 50, verse 17. For you hate discipline, there is the word paideia, and you cast my words behind you. In Proverbs 3:11, my son, do not reject the discipline. It's just paideia, but understood that the writer of Hebrew did not only mean training, but discipline of the Lord. And several passages, even in the book of prophets, in Jeremiah 2:30, in vain I have struck your sons. They accepted no chastening. Mas direkta, hindi lamang discipline, but chastening. In Jeremiah 17:23 is translated correction. Yet they did not listen or incline their ears, but stiffen their necks in order not to listen to or take correction. In Zephaniah, it is simply translated instruction. So the idea of training or discipline, kasama roon yung pamamalo, kasama roon yung corporal punishment, not to punish really, but to impose yung ating authority. Children must know, children must realize that we are authorities over them. If we are still in doubt that the word paideia means chastening, you just have to go to Hebrews 12. And if you would read verses 5 up to 11, you would see na ang idea talaga rito is not only sweet talk. It's not diplomatic reasoning. It's really discipline. Verse 5 says, "And you have forgotten the exhortation which speaks to you as to son. My son, do not despise," it is our word, "the chastening, the paideia of the Lord, nor be discouraged when you are rebuked by him. For whom the Lord loves, he chastens." He chastens. There is again the word paideia. And to be sure that you won't miss the point, to chasten and scourges. Hinahagupit. Pinapalo. So they are connected. Yung paideia, discipline, is connected with scourging. May mga liberals that they change itong, ayaw nila i-translate yung exhortation o yung itong chasten, itong paideia into punishment. Ginagawa nila itong instruction, ayaw nila. Even the rod, sabi nung isang nabasa ko, yung rod daw doon, hindi yung rod na pamalo, yung rod daw na panukat. Yung rod, ibig sabihin, meron kang measuring standard. Yun ang gagamitin mo sa anak mo, yung standard na yun. Hindi ko alam kung paano yung measuring standard nakakamatay. Sabi kasi sa Proverbs, if you use the rod, he will not die. Pag sinukat mo, wala naman sigurong bata na matay dahil sinukat mo. So it's really punishment. And if we are still in doubt, in verse 11, nilinaw pa rin ang writer ng Hebrew, no chastening seems to be joyful for the present, but painful. It's painful. So it's really spanking. Nevertheless, afterwards, it yields a peaceable fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. And it is only after paideia that parents are told to fill their minds up. Ibig sabihin, magkasama yung dalawang yun. Hindi mo pwede. You cannot fill the mind of our children. They are already filled. Puno na ng worldliness and selfishness and fleshly desires yung mind nila. You need the rod. You need the authority na makita nila na mas dapat nilang katakutan yung kanilang mga anak. So training of children is instruction, instructing our children, enforced with authority, under threat of punishment. Under threat of punishment. Anong goal natin? Ephesians 6:1, earlier than that passage. The Apostle Paul turning to children. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with the promise, that it may be well with you and you live long on earth. So there is a goal. There is a goal. Obey your parents. In establishing authority, obey your parents, that is physical, yung actual. Honor them, that is obey your parents from the heart. Yun yung goal natin. We see here why diligent parents end up having rebellious children, because their training were not backed by authority. At yung iba naman, wrong use of authority. When we use force with anger, you use the force wrongly. You cannot, the anger of man cannot accomplish the righteousness of God. Any instruction with anger, any direction, or any spanking with anger is the misuse of that authority. Hindi ka nagbibigay ng, hindi mo pinapakita yung authority mo. You're just telling your child, I'm stronger, you better watch out. I'm stronger at meron pa akong weapon. Kaya mag-ingat ka. And we will deal with that. No force that will wrestle them away from their natural God and ruler would end up being instructed rebels. Kapag hindi mo ginamitan ng force, hindi nila bibitawan yung self, hindi nila bibitawan yung flesh. They will continue to worship their appetite. Kung hindi natin, if it is not, kung hindi natin ibaback by force. Some may have seemingly succeeded in training their children. Some children turn out to be decent. Turn out to be yung magandang from the outside. But in reality, they're still rebel in their hearts. They'll still worship yung kanilang puso, yung kanilang flesh. Yung pa rin ang susundin nila. You better watch out kung ikokontrahin mo yung gusto ng puso niya, yung gusto ng flesh niya, yung gusto ng appetite niya. Hindi mo pwedeng kontrolin yun. Magagalit siya sa iyo. Kaya nga pag lumaki siya, left to himself, will really bring shame. Kasi piniham up mo na siya doon sa pagsunod, doon sa kanyang God of self. Tapos eto ka, bigla mo lang siya pipigilan. Talagang nasanay na siya sa pag-worship ng kanyang flesh, ng kanyang appetite. At home na siya sa sanlibutan. Tapos kung kailan malaki na siya, saka mo pipigilan. Wag mong gawin yan, wag mong gawin yan, gawin mo to. Mag-aaway kayo noon. Maghihiwalay kayo ng landas. So, we see here why diligent parents may end up na walang discipline yung kanilang mga anak. Then such will become members of the church dahil napalaki ng decently, may tamang doctrine, tama yung position niya, decent yung life, but rebelling heart. Papasa sa interview ng church, magiging member ng church. Sakit ng ulo yun ng pastor ng church. Kasi once you stop that person on the path of his or her fulfilling the desires of the flesh, that would mean trouble for the pastor. That would mean trouble. Kaya nga, isa sa mga nag-mark sa aking lesson dun sa academy, especially yung personal encounter with Pastor Martin, sabi niya, ang pinakamahirap i-assess ang Christianity ay yung laki sa Christian homes. Especially yung pinalaki ng mga pastor. Why? Because their lives are decent. Their doctrines are right. But what about the hearts? What about the hearts? So yun ang problema ng ating mga magulang. Kapag hindi natin ito na-implement. Kapag hindi natin napakita that we are the authority in the home during that window period, that corridor. After that window period, what they are is what they are. Ibang proseso na yon. Wala na yung authority mo. Wala nang, hindi na magpa-function yung rod. Merong isang pastor akong kilala, although hindi ko ito na-verify, pero doon sa mga nanggaling sa kanya, hindi lamang 1 or 2, almost lahat ng nakilala ko na galing sa kanya, hanggang may edad, ginagamit pa rin niya yung rod. Pati sa asawa, meron siyang mahabang yantok. To discipline daw the wife, pinapalo niya. At yung mga anak niya, yung mga fellow preachers niya, yung mga workers sa church, they use the rod. Binata na yung anak nila, ginagamitan pa rin niya ng rod. Pag nakita niyo yung isang anak niya ngayon, puro tato, may hikaw, motor, mahaba ang buhok. That's the effect of the wrong use of the rod. So we must, doon sa window na yun, doon tayo dapat maging diligent sa pagpapatupad na we are the authority over you. This is a God-given authority. But there are some ways of parents that are being substituted for authority to get their children to do what they are taught. Kailangan sundin mo yung gagawin niya, but not because I have worked in your heart that you now recognize my authority, but may mga substitute siya. One substitute is yung physical restraint. Physical restraint. Ginagamit na substitute for authority. Sabi nung may dinalaw akong isang pastor pa naman, nabanggit ko na sa inyo ito in the past. Habang nag-uusap kami, yung anak niya inutusan ng wife na dalhin yung bigas doon sa loob ng kusina. Ang ginawa ng bata, kinuha nila pagsasait. Tapos binabangga niya nung kanyang yung toy car niya, yung kanyang binabangga niya yung bigas na gano'n. Sabi ng pastor, dali mo na yan doon sa loob at pag nabutas yan, sasabugin yan. Talagang di siya pinapansin ng bata. Sabi ng dalhin mo na yan doon sa loob Siguro ilang beses. No, sabi niya sa akin, teka muna ha, binitbit niya yung anak niya, kinuha niya yung bigas, inilapag niya, tapos sinagay yan sa sumunod siya. But that's not authority. Hanggang kailan mo pwedeng gawin yun? Hanggang kailan mo pwedeng gawin restrain siya with your strength? Imagine mo, gawin ko yung sa mga anak ko ngayon, bibit-bitin ko. Pag ayaw sumunod, you cannot do that forever. And it's not working in the heart. Walang nagawa yun sa puso. Sabihin na ng anak mo, malaki ka ngayon. Sige. Ano pang, alam yung ginagamit na substitute for restraint para mapasunod yung bata? Substitute sa authority. Reward or bribing. Now, yung reward is legitimate. Legitimate yung, ano kaiba ng reward sa bribing? Ano kaiba nun? Yung bribe is before. Gawin mo to, bibigay ko sa ito. Yung bribing, gawin mo to at bibigay ko sa iyan. Yung reward is, natuwa ka dun sa bata, sa ginawa niya, because of that, I have a reward for you. Although may danger din yun, kung lagi, consistently na ginagawa, he will work to get that reward na hindi rin tama. Pero kung ginagawa yung reward na yun, even sa yung mga bagay na, nung malilit yung mga anak ko, to encourage them to read, may ginawa akong thermometer na malaking thermometer. Lahat sila may thermometer. Pag natapos nila ang isang book, ilalagay nila sa thermometer, lalagyan nila ng guhe, tapos mamark nila. Hanggang init ng painit yon dahil sabi marami sila. Kapag dumating sila sa 100 degrees centigrade, meron silang reward. Sometimes ilalabas ko sila, kain kami sa fast food, sometimes meron gift na ibibigay. Meron silang 3 nun. Hindi ko nasasabihin ko sino yung frozen lagi yung that's reward. Pero may pagkakataon din na kailangan nilang gawin even without a reward. But bribing is to tell them, you obey me and you'll get this. Matulog ka na maaga ngayon. Pag natulog ka, may ice cream ka bukas. Pag mataas ang lesson mo, pag tinatamad, linisin mo yung kwarto mo. Pag nilinis mo yung kwarto, bibigyan kita ng 1 hour na, that's bribing. Anong mali doon? Anong evil nun? Anong evil nun? Ha? Yes, that's manipulation. But what is the evil of that? You're actually feeding the flesh. Yung flesh na nga gusto mong kunin eh. You're feeding the flesh. So mag-work siya to get something that would satisfy him. Mag-obey siya to get something that would satisfy. And also, hanggang kailan mo pwedeng gawin yun? Pwede mga ice cream, chocolate lang 1 hour sa TV kapag bata, pag 16 years old. Bibili kitang motorsiklo? Pag 20, ano nang ipang babribe mo? And you're feeding the flesh. It's not really exercising your authority. Minsan subtly na ginagawa ng mga magulang, binabribe nila yung kanilang mga anak. And you would see as they grow, pag hindi na nag-work yun, tataasan mo na yung level of bribing, then you are in trouble. Kapag hindi mo na kayang ibigay yung bribe, o wala ka nang ma-bribe sa kanya. Ano pa? Withholding privileges, parang opposite naman ng no? Bribe. Pag hindi mo ginawa yan, parang opposite ng bribing naman. So, pwede mong i-withhold yun pagkatapos niyang gawin yung kasalanan, that's punishment. Pero pagkasalanan mong gawin mo to, kung hindi, again, we're feeding the flesh. I will do things because it will satisfy me. What about yung deception? Ginagawa ng mga magulang yun. Huwag kang lalabas yan, may bombay dyan, kakainin ka nun. Alam mo kami, tumanim sa isip namin yun na pag nilulun mo yung buto ng santol, tutubo sa bibig mo, lalabas yung sanga dun sa... Huwag mong paglaruan yung kutsilyo pag nasugatan ka. Lalabas yung kinain mo dyan, lalabas yung kanin. Ewan ko kung hanggang ngayon ginagawa pa ng mga magulang yun. Nung araw, ganun ang ginagawa. Ngayon may mga panakot na. Kukunin ka ni, may kapitbahay kami na naririnig ko lagi. Huwag kang lalabas yan, kukunin ka ni Jollibee. What's the danger of that? Anong danger nun? Unang-unang mali. Definitely that's wrong. Pero anong danger? Ha? Ano ngayon ang position mo sa anak mo? Later on, malalaman niya, niloloko ko ng magulang ko. Mawalan ka na ng moral authority na sabihin sa kanila later on kung anong tama, kung anong mali. Ayan ka na naman. Huwag ka mag-drugs, masama sa baan niya. Para si Jollibee na sabi mo eh. So, it's not helping. It may help certain period, but in the long run, nakakasama. Ano pa? Meron pa kayo alam? Ano yan? That's exactly yung natitira rito. Borrowed authority. Susumbong kita kay pastor. Meron mga magulang, ang lakas pa ng loob. Pag nakita ko, pastor, ayaw sumunod, pakialam ko, anak mo yan eh. Meron kaming kapitbahay, the same na nananakot sa Jollibee. Lumabas ako minsan, sabing ganyan, pinsan kuya, kaya kuya tawag sa akin, kuya, ayun si tito mo, magagalitan ka niya pag hindi ka pumasok. Ginawa ko, lumapit ako sa bata, sabi ko, alam mo, wala akong authority pagalitan ka. Dahil hindi naman ako ang parents mo. Yung mama mo, sundin mo, wag ako. Wala akong magagawa sa'yo. Sabi, si kuya naman eh. Hanggang kailan ka mananakot? Pag 16 years old, sino yung pananakot mo na? Si Bato. Susumbong kita kay Bato. Sino pa pwede may panakot yan? Ayun si Bongbong, nakatingin sa iyo. Darating ang panahon, wala ka nang ipapanakot. At ang masakit pa noon, again, makikita ka ng bata na deceptive. Niloloko mo lang sila. Mawawalan ka na ng authority. On the contrary, si Solomon, na nangolekta nitong Proverbs, tignan mo kung paano ang kanyang treatment sa kanyang mga anak. Sabi rito sa Proverbs 3:1, "My son, do not forget my law, but let your heart keep my commands." Many are saying that they're referring to the laws of God, but there is no indication. Bakit siya sabing my law? It's the law. Dapat kung law of God, the commandments of the Lord ang sasabihin niya. But it's my law. Proverbs 4:1 and 2. "Hear, my children, the instruction of my father, and give attention to no understanding. For I give you good teaching. Do not forsake my law." May law, may authority yung magulang na gumawa ng law. Again, in Proverbs 7:1 and 2, "My son, keep my words and treasure my commands with you. Keep my commands and live, and my law is the apple of your eye." Ibig sabihin ng apple of your eye, it's always on your eye. You're always looking at my law. It's my law. It's my command. So, tremendous authority binigay sa parents. Na-mention ko sa inyo last time na even pastors are not given that authority. Hindi ako pwedeng gumawa ng law at sabihin ko sa inyo na gusto ko naka-yellow kayong lahat, and that's my law, you have to keep my law. Wala ko authority ganun, pero ang magulang, binigyan siya ng authority, ng power. "I want you to be in bed by 8. Why? Because I said so and I'm your dad. That's the rule of the house. I want you to eat all your vegetables." Of course, hindi naman ganun. Darating tayo pagdating natin sa do not provoke. We must establish this authority over our children. And there are several guidelines that we should remember and follow sa pagsunod natin dito sa pag-establish ito ng authority. Unang-una, it must be done promptly. No, wait. It must be done promptly. Proverbs 13 verse 24 says, "He who spares his rod hates his son, but he who loves him disciplines." There is again our idea. Disciplines him promptly. In the King James, it's betimes. In the ESV, I think it's, ano sa ESV? Proverbs, anong word yung ginamit sa promptly? Diligently. Dito sa New King James, it's promptly. Sa King James, it's betimes. It must be done promptly. Not only, remember, not only discipline, but discipline promptly. The word elsewhere is translated early. Yung word na promptly is translated elsewhere early. Lie down. Kay Job, sabi niya dito, when you do your pardon, when you not pardon my transgression and take away my iniquity, for I will now lie down in the dust, and you seek me diligently, but I will no longer be there. In the dust, that's early. Makita mo ko, early. Pag sinabi mong early, ang idea kagad nila, yung dust, yung bago pa lamang. Pag sinabi lang early, ang idea pa lang nila, yung before sun rises, una pa lang, at the beginning of the day. Now, how early? Gaano ka early? Proverbs 19:18, chasten your son while there is hope, and do not set your heart on his destruction. While there is hope, meaning you are running out of time. Yung window, nauubos yan. Yung corridor, nauubos yan. Did not say specifically when to begin, but indicated that the hope is vanishing. Charles Bridges, on this commentary on this verse, said, but the great force of the rule is its timely application while there is hope. Yun yung effectivity. Yun yung great force. For the case becomes truly hopeless if the remedy is delayed. The cure of the evil must begin in infancy. In infancy, not a moment can be lost. Now is the time when the goods can be accomplished most easily with least physical discipline. The earlier you begin, the less is the need for the rod. The lesson of obedience must be learned at the earliest possible moment. One painful struggle and victory in the very early life may, under God, do such in settling the point. Maliit na accomplishment lamang. Then there, for all the years ahead. On the other hand, even harsh chastening later may fail to accomplish what an early slight rebuke might have accomplished. Pag na-waste mo yung early opportunity, it becomes harder and harder and harder at dumating yung point na hindi mo na kaya. As early as infancy. Of course, iba-iba yung base doon sa expression of rebellion at base doon sa age. Hindi mo hindi mo gagamitan ng spanking stick yung 2-3-month-old na bata. But there is a way to tell the child that I am the master of this house. Yung mga magulang, pag umiyak na yung bata, natataranta na. Nagkakabagsak-bagsak na. Naalala ko nung unang ilabas si Happy, pinatong ni Banji sa bed. Nung umiyak, akong unang nataranta yung pinag-ipunan namin ng electric fan, sira, nasipa ako, na tapon yung ang daming nataranta dun sa ano. And that's how I saw na ako na nagtuturo, mayroong ganung tendency mataranta. So we discussed it, we prayed, hindi natin ipapakita sa bata na natataranta tayo. Maghintay siya. Maging yung pagkarga, may rule na hindi kakargahin yung bata upon his or her demand. May time ako ng picking, pero pag siya lang ang nagdi-demand, I won't give it to them. They must know that I am there. Of course, may mga time na in pain na kailangan mong gawin. We just have to be diligent. Yung bata na siguro mga 3-4 months, sasabihan mo, hindi pa nakakaintindi yun. Paluin mo, baka hindi kagad niya maintindihan. But there is a way. Meron akong isang anak na ang gawin niya, pagkatapos siya dumedi, tatapon yung daddy niya. Pag pa-daddy-dayin mo, bibigay mong gano'n, pag nilagay mo sa kanya at ayaw niya, kukunin yung gano'n, tatapon niya. Sabi ko, that's not right. Kukunin ko yun, ibabalik ko sa kamay niya. That's the only discipline that he can understand. Ilalagay ko sa kamay niya, itatapon niya uli. Ilalagay ko ulit sa kamay niya, itatapon niya uli. Siguro mga pangatlong lagay ko, pinalo ko yung kamay niya, patingin siya sa akin. And since then, hindi na niya ginawa uli yung pagtapon. No? So maliit na accomplishment yon, But it's coming from the same heart that he would use when he grows up. The same application. Iba-iba yung ating pamaran. Yung sa church, halimbawa, yung nagmi-misbehave sa worship service. Nagmi-misbehave, hindi niya naiintindihan bakit ang pagkagawin ko rito, may nagsasalita, may nagkakantaan, hindi ko naman alam yan. Ang gagawin ng mga magulang, bibigyan siya ng equipment to ignore yung worship service. Meron pang magulang na nagdadala ng unan sa kanang pahihigain ganon. But where is our rule? Sinusunod mo yung kanyang... Hindi pa niya naiintindihan, but there is something you can do. Paliwanagan siya. Pag naglikot, dadalhin mo sa labas. Paliliwanagan muli siya, papasok mo. You may do that several times during a worship service, but that's okay. At least alam niya that something serious is going on doon sa worship service. We'll deal on that later. But there must be, pag sinabi mong, come here, pumasok ka rito, lumapit ka sa akin, at hindi siya lumapit, that's defiance. There must be a way to deal with that defiance. May oras ang pagtulog. 7, you must be in bed. Matulog ka sa hindi, you must be in bed. You stay there. The child must know, my flesh is not my master. My appetite is not my master. He may not know it, but this man before me is my master. I must obey. Hindi po ganon kadali yun. It takes much discipline and much diligence and much time to do it. And we need full-time. We need full-time parents. We need full-time parents. Otherwise, iwanan natin yung ating mga anak sa takapag-alaga that would feed. Pag iniwanan mo kasi sa nag-aalaga, anong gagawin ng mag-alaga? Ang goal lang niya, patahimikin. Ang goal lang niya, patigilin yung kung pag-iyak, lahat ng bribing, lahat ng pananakot, lahat, yun ang gagawin niya. Tapos darating ka sa bahay ng gabi, dahil may prinsipyo ka sa discipline, i-impose mo sa kanya, lalayo ang loob sa iyo, ang mamahalin niya yung nag-alaga sa kanya na pinamper siya. We need full-time parents. Forget about, I'm giving quality time. No, it's not quality time that they need. They need full-time. They need full-time ang kailangan nila. Okay, titigil ako dito. Next time, tignan natin yung isa pa, yung consistently done, prayerfully done, and graciously done. Okay? Any question or any clarification, o baka meron kayong gusto idagdag na insight sa inyong karanasan? Yung mga all-time parents, marami na tayong experience tungkol dyan, including our mistakes. Ang isang bagay at mag-a-agree kayo sa akin, tignan niyo yung mga grown-up children natin, matitrace ninyo yung defiance na ginawa nila ng bata pa sila. They are still in them. Nandun pa rin. Just controlled because of grace, because of conviction, pero nandun pa rin. Without that grace, without that conviction, what will happen? Any addition, any insight na gusto nyo idagdag? No. Nag-iiba na yun. Yung sa corridor na yun, may power ka. Meron kang power of the rod. Paglampas mo ron, hindi na pwede yun. Pero hindi mo give up. Hanggang buhay yun. Kahit wala na sa atin, hindi mo give up. Hanggat kaya mo pa. Lalo na kung nakatira pa sa atin, hindi mo pwedeng paluin. Pero you must do something para mabawi yung kung magkakamali ka. But you should always begin with asking of forgiveness kung meron kang pagkakamali na ginawa in the past. Itong ginawa ko, anak, naging lagi akong galit sa iyo, laging ganyan. Please forgive me. And then let us do it again. Ngayon, may isip ka na, alam mo na yung mali ko. At pagtulungan natin, maalis yun ang yung gagawin. We never give up. We never, oh yes, dadaanan natin yun actually. You don't teach your children to worship here in church. Teach them at home. Doon tinuturuan ng worship, doon tinuturuan ng umupo while somebody is preaching, somebody is having an open book, the Bible. Doon nila natututunan sa bahay yun, hindi sa church. Huwag niyong pilitin na umupo yung bata at hindi naman naturuan. Okay? Meron pa? Wala ba natuto sa mali? Marami na akong mali na naituro sa na-share ha. Okay, kung wala, lumapit tayo sa Panginoon sa panalangin. Salamat po aming Panginoon na ikaw ang Diyos na matalino, ikaw ang Diyos na nagkakaloob ng lahat ng aming pangailangan, hindi lang physical, ngunit pangailangan sa kaalaman. Panginoon, sana'y gamitin mo ang mga katotohanan ito para sa inyong iglesia, para sa mga magulang na narito, sa lahat sa aming Panginoon, at makita namin ang sanctity of parents and parenting. May you bless your word, O God, and may you prepare us, Lord, for this coming worship. In Christ's name, Amen.